Half the people who book a sales call with you never show up. Industry average is 49%, less than half. And if you're running a 2-call close model where you've got a triage call and then a demo call, it gets worse because 60% show up to the first call, 60% show up to the second one. If you do the math, that's 36% of your book triages ever actually going in front of someone to be able to close them, which means $2 out of $3 that you spend on ads is gone before a sale is even possible. Now, today in this episode, I'm going to show you the exact 15-step system, and don't worry, 15 steps, it's really easy, that we use inside of all of our Rainmakers clients to be able to go from 49% up to 85% show-up rates. Same ad spend, same leads, and being able to have the same process. So if you stick with me, I'm going to give you this entire system in this video. And if we're just meeting for the first time, hi, I'm Chris Dufey. I run the Rainmakers. I've helped hundreds of high tickets coaches and agencies scale to 6, 7, and 8 figures. I've built and sold my own 7-figure coaching company, and I've scaled my own consulting offer to $1 million run rate in 63 days and got a $200,000 a month agency offer in under 90 days. And I've been paid up to $25,000 a month retainers to be chief marketing officers behind some of the biggest coaching and info businesses that you know. And in every single order we run with a new client, show-up rates is typically going to be in one of the top 3 leagues every single time. And it's one of the most underrated fixed problems, because if everyone's obsessed with just getting traffic or fixing your offer, nobody's looking at what's actually happened from between when they booked to actually getting them closed. And that middle window, that's where the money is. Everything I'm sharing with you in this episode is directly out of the new updated Show-Up Maximizer playbook we have inside of the Rainmakers OS. So if you want full access to the playbooks, the AI agents that run all of your marketing just for $1, I'll pop a link in the description. Now, here's what most coaches do after someone books a call. They have their calendar, send a confirmation email, maybe remind it 24 hours out, and then they're done. That's it. That's their whole system. And then they wonder why people are ghosting them on the sales calls. When someone books a sales call with you, they are in their highest intent state of that entire funnel. Then 48 hours later, they're most likely at their lowest. Your job is in that window is able to be able to get their temperature back up so that they're getting onto the call number 1, but also we want them pre-sold even getting onto that call as well. My job as a marketer is I'm wanting to turn the sales teams that I create, those sales reps for you, I want your leads essentially being you with salmon jumping in your mouth. That's how hot, that's how predictable the lead should be coming into those sales calls. And also now, this is one of the biggest sales killers that I'm seeing across all of the accounts that we're managing right now. And it's when someone opts into your funnel or books a call with you, what happens? That person is going to be flooded with so many offers just like yours. Your competitors are then going to be showing up in their algorithm in front. So if you don't have clear differentiation, messaging, or a strategy to ensure that your potential clients actually do see you as the right option for you, your clients are going to be going to your competitors. And really importantly, I'm going to be talking about this in depth in an upcoming episode. So just a great excuse for you to subscribe. Okay, so let me take you through this process. So let's say they've booked in their first call with you. Step 1, there is an instant SMS confirmation. This is where the moment they've hit confirm, we want really quickly inside of at least 5 minutes, if not quicker, there is a text going from a real phone number out. And you want the message just to be something simple like, hey Sarah, I saw that you just booked in. Reply yes so I know that you got this, otherwise I have to cancel. Now, a booking is passive, a reply is active, and we're wanting to get that prospect active with you. So you've just turned a passive lead into a committed one in under 30 seconds. This single step adds 10-15% show-up rates just by itself right there. Then the second step is the post-booking redirect page. So they've booked on the calendar, now what are they actually seeing directly on that next page? This is where we call a pre-call video. Typically, it's about 3 to 8 minutes long. Not long, but it really importantly positions you as the expert before they even ever see your face in Zoom. Now, why this is important is because there's a really high likelihood, especially when you use our systems, that we're able to get cold traffic booking calls really quickly. Now, what we found was we were so good running ads to be able to get people to be able to book calls, but there needs to be trust building, which is why we have a whole section called the trust engine. And a part of that process, we need to get consumption, we need to be able to get them to be able to have more input and warmth into you. Because if we just go straight from cold traffic, whether it's a YouTube ad, a Facebook ad, an Instagram ad, whatever, we can get people to be able to book a call, like qualified leads to be able to book a call. However, now we have to start what we call a microwave to be able to warm them up. So then when they get on the call, they're actually ready and going to, well, again, show up to the call, but then they're ready, willing to buy from you as well. And we make that sales call as easy as possible, which is why I don't want you to skip this step, because the pre-call video is how you walk onto that demo already perceived as the authority. Then you have the step 3, the pre-call questionnaire. Now, this is where you typically only have about 2 to 4 hours after they book. There is another text going out, something along the lines of, what's the number one result you'd love to create in your business over the next 12 months? That's it. 70% of people that will answer this do it right, because when they do, 3 things will happen. They commit harder again, they articulate their own pain in their own words, and you get the exact intel how to customize that call from them. This is really important because we're not just treating a prospect or a lead just as a number. We want to be able to treat them as a real human being that has real wants, real needs, real desires, real pains, and they're coming to you in hopes to be able to solve that pain. So do a bloody good job in solving in the first place, which means we want to be able to have a real actual conversation with them, actually finding out, where is it that you are right now? What are you struggling with? Why have you not gotten there so far? And then being able to bridge the gap to, well, this is what we do as a business, and this is how we can solve that. And that's obviously what the conversation's for. Now, really importantly, to increase the show up rate, there is an extra step that we've recently, probably in the last couple of months, actually put across a bunch of different accounts, which is a personally selfie video from the closer. Okay, so step 4 is, this is the one of what I actually really would love you to be able to implement, because within 24 hours of the booking coming in, I just want a 30 to 60 second selfie video from the closer. And you can actually do something a little bit cringy, but it works. You can even get them to hold up a sticky note with their name on the start of it, so they know that it's personalized for them. It's not going to be some crappy marketing tactic, but we actually want a real, actual 60-second video that is going to be saying like, hey, Chris, I see that you've booked in your calendar with me. I'm really looking forward to this. I can see that you want to solve X. That's what we're going to talk about. Really looking forward to talking. Now, within all of these steps, it is important to understand that some of it's automated. A lot of it's automated, where we have the AI and the systems being able to do a lot of it, where we set it up once and it's going to be able to just rinse and repeat itself so brilliantly. But there's also the manual things. And we've seen there are some key critical steps that when they are done manually, they are 100% worth it, because it increases the call show and increases the conversion rates, which goes to an added step, which is step 5. Some people think this is overkill. You take it for whatever it is. But 24 hours before the call, the closer then sends an SMS and an email, and it's something along the lines with the message of like, hey Sarah, been thinking about the specific goal that they said and have some ideas to share with you tomorrow. Now, it feels custom because it is custom. When they're talking about specific goals, it's actually answering to the problems and concerns that that prospect replied back to in that text message that we sent out as well. So now we're piecing together, and we're essentially, what are we really doing? We're showing that we actually give a shit to our prospects coming through, and that we want to best help them, because we're not just trying to rip through this automated system. And also why I say in the last couple of steps that it's the closer doing it. Now, if it's you doing all the calls and you're closing, you're the closer, you're wearing the closing out. But if you have team members being able to do it, they need to send it out as well, because there is a need to have what I call an authority transfer, because your prospects have probably seen you in the content. Like, okay, let's be perfectly honest right now. You're seeing me in the content right now. Now, hopefully there's a really good chance you're like, hey, this dude, he kind of knows what he's talking about and he can get me the results that I'm looking for right now. And so then what you do, you go down into the link description and you click the link, you book in a call with my team. Now, what needs to happen from there? You've seen my content, you've watched my YouTube, you've listened to the podcast, you've read the essays, you've checked me out on Instagram, all of that fun stuff. But then when you have a conversation with one of my team members, they're essentially a complete stranger. So then when you're getting on a call with Jared, you're like, who the hell's Jared? Well, now what we do is we do an authority handover. I want you to know that Jared's not just some random. Jared is a skilled technical person with tons of experience that probably blows most people away that are even trying to have their own office in this. And he's going to be able to have an extremely congruent, intellectual, and effective conversation with you to figure out, why do you not have the results that you want? What is it that you need to actually get the results you want? Can we actually give you the results you want? And if we can, what does that actually look like in a really easy way to understand? That's all we're doing right there. So you want to ensure that there is an authority handover to make sure that from the person, you're watching this content and this is amazing. But when you talk to my team, that you will have context that the person that you're talking to is also a super switched on cat that is able to help you. If you've made it this far, seriously, thank you. I appreciate you being here. But real quick, if you are a coach or consultant who wants to be able to build a self-growing business without bloated team, a big ad budget, or working more than 3 hours a day, then make sure that you hit subscribe, because everything I share here is built for founders just like you, because it's likely that you are done chasing bigger and ready to build better. So let's get back to it. And then yes, you've got steps like 6 and step 7 where you are sending reminder emails 24 hours and 15 minutes out, and SMSs as well. And just FYI, do make sure that the dynamic links of, if you're doing the calls via Zoom, I'm assuming you are, that those dynamic links of the actual Zoom links are going to be in the emails and the SMSs as well. So they can just simply go open an SMS that they just received, click the link to the Zoom, and then voila, they're talking with you on that Zoom call. But this is where step 8 is where most coaches just give up on. And what we call this is the no-show recovery sequence. So we've done all this fantastic stuff, this perfect system to make sure that they show up. Not 100% of people are going to show up. Stuff is going to happen. They have to take the kids off to school. Something came up in their life. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but something has happened that could have taken them off getting on that Zoom call with you as well. So when that happens, we want to be able to have a recovery system. Now, what typically we set up is after they've no-showed, after 5 minutes, they get sent a manual text that says something along the lines of, hey, just jumped off Zoom, are you okay? Now, if you notice frame, not you missed our call or are you okay? Now, what we want to do with this recovery is we want to be able to acknowledge, associate with something other than being disrespectful, and we want to be able to ask a specific question that re-engages them. Something like 1 hour later, you might then send a voice note that says like, life happens, no stress, I've got tomorrow at 3, want me to lock it in? Something that is easy for them to be able to re-engage back with you. Otherwise, they're probably just going to ghost you. Because remember as well, what I said earlier on in this episode, it's really likely that if they've booked a call in with you, they've booked a call in with your competitors as well. So now there is quite a bit of a race to be able to build trust and to build a relationship with this person. So if you're just coming off not fantastic and your competitor is, you've lost that potential client. And if you still haven't heard back from them 48 hours after, you probably will likely send an SMS, something along the line of still want help with whatever the goal is, yes or no. So again, keeping it super basic, but again, making it easy for them to reply so that we can start back that conversation needed with them. Now, if you're running a 2-call close process, this is where a lot of coaches just drop the ball, because the second call show-up rates just as, if not more important. We need to make sure that they're actually going from the first call to the second call. And if at any point, if at any business or any account, I go look at the metrics and I see that that second call has a low show up rate, there's something really wrong happening on the actual first call, because anyone booked in to that second strategy closing, whatever call or whatever name you call that, is going to be, they want to be, I'm getting on that call because I know I'm going to be able to get something I really, really want. And if they're not showing up to the call, it's most likely because the person that's held that first call has not done a great job. Okay, so there's some nuance where it comes into it. If you're just holding all the calls, then there's going to be some things which makes it easier because you're just doing it. If you've got a sales team, you could possibly be having a team member that is holding the first call, and you could be having another team member that is doing that second closing call as well. I'm going to assume that just for now, and obviously if you don't have that, then you can scrap these processes. However, what you want to be able to do is a live booking in. So whether it's just you holding the calls, all of the calls yourself, you still want to follow this process. This is where quite literally on the call, share screen, pull up the calendar and get them booked in for the second call. Now, granted as well, this also is super important if you get an objection. Let's say you've got a prospect and they say, Chris, I just need to think about it. Yes, there's ways to handle that objection, but if at the end of the day, and quite often as well, is a case of you actually want to give that person space and you want them to let them to be able to think about it and do whatever. That's perfectly fine. You haven't lost the sale from it, but what you want to make sure is that you've booked them in. You never want someone getting off that call, at least not booked in for when that next conversation is going to happen as well. So share screen, pull up the actual calendar and you manually book them in for that next conversation. Now, if you do have a difference between team members holding first call and second call, then what you want to be able to make sure is, again, you have that authority handover set up so that that prospect knows who they're talking to in that next conversation, and there is some sort of engagement from that person to that prospect before that call happens as well. Even if you get the setup to be able to send a message like, hey Sarah, just brief whoever the closer's name is on our chat, they're already thinking about the specific problem that you've talked about on that conversation, looking forward to the call on Thursday. Now, this does three things. It creates continuity between the two humans that are actually in mind. It pre-frames the actual closer on them being the person that is going to be able to best help them, and it ensures that we're now getting there a handover effect, so they're going to show up to that call as well. And again, if it's going to be a different person holding that call, I like then having another selfie style video, quick and to the point, being able to go from that closer to that prospect, something along the lines of, hey, closer here, just read through your triage notes. Sounds like the biggest thing on your plate is X, and that being true, I want to walk you through how we'll tackle that on Thursday. Super simple. Make sure that the prospect knows who the hell they're talking to, that they're actually coming into that conversation ready, and there's a clear outcome of what's going to happen from that conversation. Now, in this next step, I don't do this with all accounts, but I'm going to throw this out there whether you want to use this or not. And this is kind of like pre-sales call or pre-demo homework. So if you want to be able to send the prospect either something to watch, which I highly recommend the majority of the time that this is going to happen, or if there's something for them to fill in and there is a little bit of a homework part of it, that we have some offers, let's say even in the property coaching space, where they'll get their prospects to fill in like a form. So then when they get onto the call, they know numbers about what's going on with their financials, what's going on with where they want to go, and they can get a little bit more technical on that sales call as well. But what you want to be able to do is you don't want to make the homework too hard, because you just don't want your prospect to throw that in the too hard basket, then they're not going to do it, and then they're probably not even going to show up to the call. Or you don't want it to be a waste of their time as well. If there's something that's going to be in between, make it useful for the sales conversation to actually be a proper conversation with each other, and making sure that they see what it is that you can best be able to do. So if there is pieces of content, ideally at least one piece of content that you can send to them, so that it's going to answer more of the logistical questions of what it is that they're getting themselves into, so that when they get onto that call with you, they understand what you do and how you do it. They're not going to be asking logistical questions like, well, how many calls do I get? When a group coaching call is going to be? What's inside? What's the modules? Like all of those little things, you don't want them to be able to get too caught up in the actual sales conversations, because we've already pre-answered that as well. Now, really importantly, each of the pieces of content that we will send to a prospect before they even get onto the call, I want to have thought through and I want to have answered the main objections. This is really important, so stick with me please. I want to have answered the main objections that you're typically going to be having on those sales calls. Now, the way that I actually frame this with my clients when they come on board is I say, hey, have you seen the movie Inception? Great movie. What I want to do as a marketer is I want to incept the answers to the objections before they ever even have time or even ever want to actually say the objection on the sales call. I've already pre-answered those key things stopping them from the sale. which is again why we have high conversion rates on those sales calls as well. Now, one last thing before I leave you with this, because I'd have to kick my own ass if I didn't say this in this episode, is please ensure that you are tracking your metrics all the way through. You want to be tracking some key metrics like from the ad, such as like what's the click-through rate, what are the conversion rates, but yes, when it comes to what's the actual lead to booking rate, what's the show-up rates for all the different types of calls, what's the actual cost per call, cost per show, cost per sale, make sure that you have your metrics put together, because it's just one of these fundamental things. Is it's so easy for I'm just taking from a consultative point of view. If I jump onto a consulting call with any type of coach and they've got some basic numbers already tracked, it's very easy for us to diagnose and know where the actual problem is. Then I can easily solve it, and it's just done so much faster. If you're not tracking your numbers, you're most likely going to be working on the wrong things, which is just an utter waste of time. So now, look, I've just given you all these different steps to be able to have the frameworks, the math, and the traps to be able to avoid. And if you want to be able to take this video, screenshot it, go back through it again, make sure you've got these steps implemented, because I genuinely hope you do. But here's what I've seen people try when they build this alone. They write the wrong templates, they send them at the wrong times, their automations are set up incorrectly, and then they build all these like 6 go high level workflows that all conflict with each other, and they never test them, and the prospects are getting confused, or they don't get the messages, and it's just like sticky tape and string holding this thing together, and it doesn't work. 6 months later, their show-up rates are even worse, and then they're blaming their leads, they're looking at their ads, and they think that they're fixing one thing where their problem's in a completely different situation. And that's why if you'd rather skip that 6 months of headaches, that's what we do in the Rainmakers. We build the entire system for you, custom to your offer, and to be able to make sure that you've got everything set up so that you can go all the way from cold traffic ads, organic content, all the way through to have the sales funnels put together, your workflows, your automations, and having your scripting, your templates, everything put together so that you just simply have a repeatable process to be able to get leads and turn them into clients. And it's all done with you, built for you, and supported with you until it works as well. So I'll pop a link in the description below for you to be able to book in your demo call, and if anything as well, you'll actually see the entire process. So what you can do is just see what it is that we're actually doing as well, because that's going to be so much of the process that we will then install for you. So we'll want to be able to actually on a call, look at your funnel and look at your current show-up rate, look at what your offer is, look at how you're actually driving traffic as well, and then understand what is actually going to be the right fit to fix the problem that you want to go from where you are to where it is you want to go in the straightest line as well. Either way, you win. And if you've got value from this, you know the drill. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. All right, that's it for today. And if this did hit home for you today, and if you are building a business that's meant to give you more money and more freedom, then I want you to be able to do 2 things before you go. 1, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because it would be a bummer if you missed out on everything else to come. Number 2, grab the link in the description and be able to book in your free demo so you can see the exact systems, the exact process, and you can be able to install it inside of your business. Because remember, this channel is for coaches and creators who want a daily income, simple systems, and to be able to take time off. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.